are coming to you today from one of the most important pieces of energy infrastructure in this region. This is Adnoc's Lulu offshore oil platform. We're about 40 kilometers off the coast of Abu Dhabi. And right now, this platform is processing tens of thousands of barrels of oil a day, feeding into the global markets, powering the UAE economy, and also underpinning energy security far beyond this region as well. But here's what might actually surprise you about all of this. This entire operation, from engineering to execution, was made in the Emirates. So as this major UAE initiative kicks off today, we have been given very rare access to the front lines of production, and we're going to be taking a deep dive into the heart of the UAE's strategic push to supercharge local industry amid this trade and tariff war that is underpinning global supply chains. So here's what you need to know.
The Lulu field is one of the Gulf region's most important energy projects. The field itself was discovered in 1981, but it didn't start producing oil until 2014. Since then, it's become a central piece of the UAE's strategy to grow its oil output and meet global demand. The rig is operated by Adnoc offshore, but it's a team effort. Austria's OMV, France's Total Energies and Azerbaijan's SOCAR are all partners in the project, and it's a massive offshore complex that runs around the clock. Once it's extracted, the oil is sent by pipeline to Abu Dhabi's Zirku Island, where it's processed, stored and shipped to buyers around the world. Critical energy infrastructure supporting the UAE economy, jobs and global energy security.
And of course, our visit here to Lulu also comes hot off the heels of President Trump's historic visit to the UAE and wider Gulf last week. The president, of course, met with Adnoc CEO Dr. Sultan Al Jaber on Friday, where major energy deals were in focus. We saw the two countries moving forward with plans to spend some $440 billion in the energy sector over the next 10 years, which is, of course, all part of this massive UAE-US investment corridor worth some $1.4 trillion US dollar, Sri.
Dan, let's talk about that and let's bring in AI. And to what degree did AI really define President Trump's visit and define some of the deals in the region? And while we're at it, let's bring in AI to Lulu as well, and explain to us how Adnoc is harnessing digital solutions to really raise the bar at its offshore oil fields like the one that you are on.
Well, Sri, it has been fascinating to get a real deep dive into this platform. My team and I helicoptered in from Abu Dhabi early yesterday. We stayed on the rig overnight, and I have to tell you, it's almost like a floating hotel here, actually better than some of the hotels that I have stayed in around the region. So this is really important energy infrastructure. And to tie this back to your question about President Trump's visit, we saw the UAE and the United States announcing what was some $440 billion US dollars worth of new energy deals as well, all part of that $1.4 trillion US dollar investment corridor. And with Make It in the Emirates kicking off today, it really underscores just how important that investment is going to be, because what the UAE wants to do here is demonstrate that it can design, build and execute these major offshore energy projects at scale. And of course, Abu Dhabi's NMDC Energy was also really central to that mission as well. As I mentioned before, most of what you see here has been built right here in country. That's important for powering the UAE economy, but it's also important for adding in-country value. And most importantly, it's important as well for creating Emirati jobs. Just walking around yesterday on the platform, it was also interesting to see that more than half of the staff here are actually Emirati nationals. So this is all part of a broader UAE push to essentially rely less on the rest of the world, to build more at home, to firm up what have been quite fragile supply chains as a result of the ongoing trade and tariff war, and to ensure that these projects can be made in the Emirates moving forward as well, with that massive new pipeline of investment also now online. Shri, you mentioned AI as well, and of course this is also very central because we did see the United States essentially paving a way for the UAE to have access to some of those really critical American-made chips. That is going to happen at some point in the future, and that's also important for the energy industry as well. Here on Lulu, we're seeing AI work in real time. Abu Dhabi's AIQ is using its RoboWell technology on 22 wells here, all adjusting and monitoring in real time, and essentially doing what it used to take dozens of engineers as well. So that technology is being used on the platform in an increasing way, with the ultimate end goal here to improve efficiency, improve safety as well, and of course ensure that all of this happens in a sustainable manner too. Adnoc is also attempting to push the sustainability angle here, and they say AI can be a key driver of that moving into the future too.
It's really an example of really sweating the assets and raising productivity. And Dan, just put it all together then. Tell us why this rig is so central to the grand plan, to the Emirati plan of onshore manufacturing.
Indeed, what we're really seeing now, Shri, is a push not just in the UAE but around the region and in some cases around the world to make it at home. Make It in the Emirates kicks off today, as I mentioned, and this is a major national initiative in the UAE to onshore domestic manufacturing. Again, going back to this idea that the UAE does not need to rely on foreign talent, does not need to rely on foreign manufacturing in order to develop and deepen major industries here. All of that really aimed at firming up the economy in this part of the world as well. And perhaps most importantly, we see all of this taking place against the backdrop of what have been really volatile geoeconomics and of course supply chains globally under pressure as well. So this is how the UAE is firming up its own economy and pushing forward with some of these major offshore and of course onshore projects as well. Shri, later on in the program, we're actually going to take you inside Abu Dhabi's NMDC Energy where all of this was made. And we'll hear from the CEO. We'll also explain to you exactly some of what has happened offshore here and how it got here and why that's setting world records. And later on in the program as well, we're also going to be speaking with Taiba Al-Hashimi. She's the CEO of Adnoc Offshore. She's going to be joining me live here, and we'll talk about these trends and ultimately what it means for the UAE economy as well.